Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend. Oh, Django's moaning and groaning. He's gonna be 9 on Wednesday. And it's like literally sounding like an old man. We are redoing our kitchen and we're DIYing it, and we're probably like a third of the way through, and it's very exciting. So that's what I spent my weekend doing. And then my husband took a COVID test this morning and he's got COVID. So fingers crossed that it just stays with him. And he got it last March. He's vaxxed and boosted. So, hey, here we go. Anyway, today, this is one of my favorite things to talk about with you all is, the books, like the best books, in my opinion, for soul growth and personal development. I feel like Oprah when I do this. It's like Oprah's book club. And so here are my top, what do I have? I think I have like top 10 or top 9. I don't know. I never really keep count. Okay. So if you've been following me for a while, one of the biggest game changers for me, and I will talk about this, and I have it on my bookshelf, is The Alchemist. Has anybody read The Alchemist? It is amazing. It's Paulo Coelho, and I believe I talked about this last week. I can't really remember, but it is a beautiful fable, and it's all about the hero's journey. So if you want a really good book that will describe it, this is probably the best book, aside from actual books on it. But it is a great fable, and it's about this Spanish shepherd, and he comes from a long line of shepherds, his father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather, all the things. And he's getting called. He keeps getting these dreams about the pyramids. And so it's about him either staying with the status quo or being a shepherd, or hearing that call and taking those steps out onto, and listening to his dreams and overcoming his fears and ultimately finding himself. So get it. It is magic. I've read it so many times. I have it underlined from when I was 24, and everything still resonates. So it's a great book. Next, I know that there are a lot of empaths out there in this group. And so if you are an empath, drop it. And you want to do #empath just for the fun of it or whatever. But if you're an empath and you have not read this book, go out and maybe not go out, maybe just order it, right? Or listen to it or whatever, but get the Empath's Survival Guide by Judith Orloff. She is a psychiatrist, and she is the thought leader on all things empath. And when I read this book a couple of years ago, it was like a game changer. I was like, how has it taken me this long to read this book? And so if you ever wondered why people drain you, or why you can walk into a room and feel the vibes, or why you cry at commercials or Survivor or American Idol. I don't even know if that show's still on, but I was always crying during that show. Or why you vibe with some people and why you don't with others. This book is literally the holy grail. The next game changer is The Power of Now, and that is by Eckhart Tolle, and he is going to be in Seattle. I was supposed to see him in January, but then it got pushed back because of COVID. And so I'm going to see him live in March, and I'm ridiculously excited. It's like me going to see the Grateful Dead. Which I'm a huge fan, if you don't know that. Love Eckhart Tolle. Okay, and so this book is all about time and suffering. Okay, and so I read it about a year after my son Jack died, and his anniversary is actually coming up in a couple of weeks. So it's going to be 6 years. But this book was super helpful for me. And so according to Eckhart, time equals suffering, okay? And so if you are constantly living in the past, you are going to be depressed. You're going to have regrets. You're going to, have remorse. And conversely, if you are constantly kind of future tripping and focused on the future, you are going to have anxiety and lots of fears and worries, and a lot of times you could paint yourself into a corner and get stuck. And so his whole concept is the more that we can be in that present and more that we could be in that now, that suffering ceases to exist. I am a mantra, I don't know, queen, person, whatever, and I remember after reading this book and with those who have experienced grief, and it could be the death of a loved one, it could be, a relationship ending, it could, loss is a lot of things, right? But when, I remember for me, as hard as it was, the more present I was, the more I was kind of okay, and I'm not talking about like at the way beginning, because I was an absolute shattered shit show. But I remember reading this book and then telling myself, like, okay, right here, right now, I am okay. Right here, right now, doing this live with you all, I am okay, And so like if I thought about the future or I thought about the past, I would not be okay. But the more present you can be, the less suffering you will experience. So that's the third book. The fourth book that I love is The Big Leap. This is a great, great book by Gay Hendricks. I love this book because this is all about your unconscious fears and universal fears that all humans have, and what is keeping you from your highest potential, okay? So he talks about these 4 universal fears, which I'm not going to get into, but it's like we all have them, and how they are set up to try to stop us. But if you are aware of these 4 fears, you can lean into them and grow. Okay, it's some good shit. The 5th book that I love is Big Magic. Okay, this is Elizabeth Gilbert. I always want to call her Melissa Gilbert because of I'm blanking out on the name. The Little House on the Prairie. So I always get them mixed up. But it's Elizabeth Gilbert, who's the Eat, Pray, Love woman. Also, if you want a really good novel, she wrote, it's such a good novel. It's called The Signature of All Things, and it's amazing. But that's not the one I'm talking about today. I'm talking about self-growth. So Big Magic is, again, all about fear, but fear and creativity, and how they are, as she puts it, I believe she puts it like Siamese twins. Maybe that was how she put it. Anyway, I know that's totally culturally inappropriate, but anyway, that like they're 2 sides of the same coin. Let's put it that way. And that when we tap into that fear and lean into it instead of avoiding it, right? That is where creativity lives. I like to kind of take it a step further and say that, because creativity, again, and spirituality live in your subconscious mind, right? And so with that creativity is also you're tapping into your spiritual portal, okay? And so the more that you could lean into your fears, the more that you could tap into your spirituality, the more you could tap into your creativity, the more you could tap into healing, and it's really just awesome. Let's see. And it's a super quick read, and her voice is like, she's just such a great writer in my opinion. So, her voice is also amazing. The 6th book is Everything is Figureoutable by Marie Forleo. Love her. Like, she's kind of like my kindred spirit. I mean, she has no idea, but I'm like, she's from Jersey, I'm from New York, and this is, again, like, I know that there's a theme here, but fear is the ultimate stopper when it comes to personal growth and personal development. It's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. Like, how will my life look different if I do the thing that I know I'm supposed to do in order to grow? Like, how will that affect my relationships? How will that affect me? You know, and so these books are all about learning how to basically get unstuck and like move forward. And so, she again also talks about that fear as actually being your ally, right? It's kind of like, I like to look at it as fear being like your soul's GPS, like going, psst, hey, go this way for growth, okay? You know, so that's kind of the essence of everything is figureoutable. And it's true. It's just like, whether it's me figuring out how to put a drawer in my kitchen this past weekend, or, you know, learning how to like survive and thrive after, you know, a horrific, you know, loss of my son, right? And so it's learning that you could figure everything out. I don't know why I have this one this far down the list, but Man's Search for Meaning. Again, I'm going to have to move this up the list. This is going to be top 3. Like top 3, The Alchemist, Power of Now, Man's Search for Meaning, and then probably The Empath's Survival Guide. Did you know that I can't, I could do that. Anyway, I can't. I have 12-and-a-half-year-old girls and they're all like, can you do this? Like, it's all about the double jointed thing. Anyway, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Oh God, this is a book that I read during every major life transition in my life. And it is amazing. He is I can't remember if he was a psychiatrist or psychologist, but he was put in not 1, but 3 concentration camps. I'm like kind of laughing at myself right now because I'm like, this one is fascinating. He was put in a concentration camp. It's like all my books are about suffering and fear, but they're not. They're like, they're inspiring, and they're all about like the strength of the human spirit. Okay. And so that is what I want to get through to you all today. It's about the strength of the human spirit. And so he was put in 3 different concentration camps and survived it. And then that's like the first half of the book. And then the second half of the book is about this psychological theory and therapy that he created called logotherapy, which is like all about your why. Like, why are you here? What is your purpose? Why is life happening for you? Heavier read, yes, but so well worth it. And it's also like on the top 100 books that you should read before you die. So it's like, it's just amazing. 2 other books that I love. Untamed, it's just an anthem. It is amazing, by Glennon Doyle. And it's just about being a kick-ass woman and taking down the patriarchy. And also, like, there's this part in this book where she's like, hey, I didn't get that. I got the memo of how women are supposed to act and behave in our society. And, you know, and it's about kind of bucking that system, right? And then I'm reading this now. I put it down for a little while because it's a really big book. And quite honestly, I kind of forgot about it. But I picked it back up again, and it's called A Radical Awakening by Dr. Shefali. She's amazing, okay? And so is this book. And it is about shedding the conditioning, the cultural conditioning that we have consciously and unconsciously just embedded into our system. And the big theme here is, who would you be if you didn't have all of the conditioning, right? Like, as American women, we have a certain level of conditioning, but if you're in a different country, you're going to have a different level of conditioning, right? But it's like cultural, familial, patriarchal, societal. Who would we be if all of that was stripped away? Again, it is about who you are on a soul level. I am listening to this book It's like 14 hours, so it's big, but it's so good. And if you choose to listen to it, like she just has like this voice that is just super magical. So there we are. Those are my top 9. I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you've read these books and what you think of these books, because they're just, I just love books that are all about, like, again, the soul and the spirit and overcoming your fears and like, and really trying to understand like who you are and why you're here, and living your best life, even when shit hits the fan. Like, I've seen so many deaths, like, you know, whether it's pets or humans or whatever in the past week. And it's like, you know, life is going to throw you life, right? The shoe's going to fall. The other shoe's going to fall. The shit's going to hit the fan. And it's about learning how to move through those moments and learn from them and grow from them and heal from them. And that's why we're here, to help kind of to try to navigate that. Okay, that is all. Wish me luck. Hopefully this COVID will only hit one person in my household. And have an amazing week. Mwah.